Hey there guys, Matt Dawson here from Inspire Music School. Just wanted to come on. I've not been doing a live for a while, so I wanted to come on and touch base with you guys. Yeah, so I just wanted to come on and say hi. We've had a lot of good stuff going on in the world of Inspire Music School, which is why I've not been able to come on. It's just been crazy busy here in the studio. But thanks for those of you that have been posting in the group. For those of you that are joining me today, hello Neil, keep tuning in because this is going to be tackling your question. We put out a question earlier in the week about what's been your biggest challenge, and we've had a lot of great feedback from the guys in the group on that. And one of the things that Neil actually posted in was one of the biggest challenges that he's faced is what to practice, when to practice, and like how to practice, how to structure your practice when there's so much stuff going on out there. Now, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about that, and if you do have any questions on top, doesn't have to be about what I'm speaking about, it could be about anything, by all means, please just shout it out. For those of you that are watching this back on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in on the replay. For those of you watching, hello Neil, this one's just for you, mate. Hope you're well. Thank you so much for watching in live and watching on the replay. And for those of you that are watching this on the replay in other platforms and other channels, please head to the link above and click on that link so that you are getting your questions answered in real time. So hi Mike, hi Neil, let's get cracking. Okay, so what to practice, when to practice, how to practice. It's a big thing, and it can kind of confuse a lot of people. If you go onto YouTube and you type in learn guitar, you will probably get like 30,000 videos, and all of them teach guitar. All of them teach guitar. And it's like, well, where do you start? Do I start learning chords first? Do I start with scales? Do I start with theory? What do you start with? Now, in this school, when I'm teaching students, we actually have our own syllabus that I've designed, which takes that information and shrinks it down. Now, I'm considering taking on like Skype clients and things like that. I mean, I'm not too sure. If that's something that you guys would be potentially interested in, please let me know. I've never really done the whole Skype thing. This is about as close to Skype as I've ever really come. But, you know, thinking about what to practice is going to be the biggest builder for your success. Now, one thing that we can do is we can look at what do we need to work on in order to get our songs sounding great, because that's what we want to be at. That's the end result. We want to be able to play songs, solos and stuff like that. So songs usually contain chords. Okay, well, we need to work on chords then. That's one thing that we can concretely say we need to work on. In order to play chords, we've got strumming patterns. So strumming is something that we will need to obviously work on. Okay, so we've got chords and we've got strumming. The other thing I would say that's very common that we need to really give focus to, you know, with your solos and melody lines and things like that, is things like scales. So that's three things: chords, strumming, and scales. And then the last thing that you might think, okay, well, I need to give a bit of time towards working towards this, is theory. Okay, so theory is kind of like your overarching thing. Some people don't want to learn theory, and okay, you can go through that if you want, but I would always recommend it. But we've just covered 4 points there. So I've just gone chords, scales, strumming, and theory. Okay, now, if we look at that, okay, so the biggest thing you can start with is structure. Now, if you were to go into your, let's say if you live on the other side of the world and you can't come to my studio and have lessons from me personally, okay? If you go to any music shop, and say if you're a beginner, you grab a book, Guitar for Beginners. It will contain a variation of what we've just spoken about: chords, strumming, scales, and theory. Okay, so what you do is you say, okay, from point one, I'm going to work on just my chords. And what you do is you start with, say for example, if it's your open chords, you'll start with your open chords and you'll just work on that. And what I tend to do is I tend to say, focus on one thing each week. So this week could be your chords week, okay? And if you give focused attention to just one thing, you tend to get a lot further with it than today I'm going to try and learn this solo, and tomorrow I'm going to learn that riff, and then the next day I'm going to try and learn that riff that I tried learning a few months back and couldn't do it. That's kind of like ping pong, kind of like, it's like watching a pinball machine when it comes to learning. Whereas if you think, okay, I'm going to warm up, Okay, now I've got a few different warm-ups that I like to use where I'm kind of just doing picking on different strings and things like that, just to kind of get myself in the routine of actually playing. Think of it like limbering up before like a race, and then I'll go into, if it's chords, I might go in, right, what chords am I looking at? Am I looking at major chords, minor chords? Am I looking at bar chords? What am I looking at? And if you've got a book or a syllabus, or if you've got a teacher, that's going to be the best thing. So you're going to take the very basics and you build on it. If that's making sense. Neil, please let me know if that's making sense to you, mate, because that's going to be the biggest thing that's going to set it apart. Then what you can do is, once you've looked at your compulsory thing that you're going to look at each week, so if it's chords week, you're going to at least look at chords. You can buffer out your practice with things like scales or whatever after. It's not really going to be the essential thing. What you're looking at is chords. And then I would usually recommend having a song in the works that you're working along as well. So you do your warm-up, you look at your focus thing for the week, whether it's chords or scales or whatever, and then you go on and then you work on your song to kind of wrap it up. And that will, if you think of it like a grouping of 10, so 10-minute warm-up, 10-minute chords, 10-minute scale, 10-minute song at the end, or 10-minute warm-up, 10-minute scales, 10-minute song at the end. What you'll do is you'll break your practice down into 30-minute blocks. If you break it down into 30-minute blocks, what you'll find is 30 minutes is easily repeatable in terms of the amount of time that you can practice for. So that is something that's already going to be an advantage there, because you think, okay, well, if I do 30 minutes every single day and follow that routine, then what happens is you repeat it, you repeat it, you repeat it, and then those chords or scales or whatever it is that you were struggling with become a lot easier, because you've given focus attention to it each day, if that makes sense. And you cycle that round. And if you want to buffer it out with other things, you can. You could, but as long as you've got, like, I'm going to focus on scales this week, and I'm just going to work on, let's say, for example, if you're learning the major scale. At the start of the week, you might not be able to play the major scale. So then you're going to go along step by step by step by step by step each day, working on it a little bit more. Film yourself on Monday playing it, then film yourself on the Sunday playing it, and see if you've progressed. Guarantee you will have progressed quite significantly. So that's something that I would usually recommend, having some sort of structure. Again, most of my students here in the school, the school has a custom syllabus that we actually work from, and we have like a cheat sheet type thing where I take all chords and scales and I break them down into kind of like segments, and we have the whole school goes through like a focus thing each week. But I would recommend that, because I was reading a book the other day and it was calling it milkshake multitasking, where it's like your brain is going here, then it goes there, then it goes here, then it goes there, then it goes here, then it goes there, and you just don't get anything done. I don't know if you've ever tried to, like, you know, when we're trying to work maybe on a computer, then you go down like a Facebook wormhole where you just kind of go into social media and you start going through pictures and, oh, I'm gonna look at this profile, oh, then that guy, or I forgot about that guy, or let's watch this video, or, you know, you click on a YouTube video and then it just goes around and you go into the next video and into the next video and into the next video, and then before you know it, 30 minutes have gone by and you've just done no work, but you've gone down this social media rabbit hole. It's very easy to do that with guitar playing. I'm going to start out learning this solo. Oh, then I remembered I can play that riff. I'm going to play that riff for a bit. Oh, then what about that chord progression I was trying to learn? And then before you know it, you get to like 45 minutes in and you've not learned anything. You've not done anything. You've just noodled around for like the whole time. So what I'd recommend, if you don't have a book, like, I can't recommend a book to you, but I would recommend, you know, if you don't have a teacher, you know, and you don't want to get a conventional teacher, then what you can do is you can buy like guitar, you know, whatever guitar book you want to get, and it will, you know, if it's an intermediate book, if you're an intermediate player, start with that. If you're a beginner, start with a beginner player, and then you kind of just work your way through it, and you kind of go, right, well, this is day one, and I'm going to start at the first page of the chord section, or whatever it might be. So I hope that's making sense to you. Again, because there's people in this group from all over the world, I can't have everyone kind of flying into the UK and having lessons with myself. If I could, I would, obviously, because you're all great guys. But that's the routine that I would recommend everybody practice when they're learning from me.